what was on the bill, and that's what she copied
That's
down.
what she did. She did what was on the bill as she's signing, because I know.
The only thing I care about is there's a number on one side that corresponds with something on the other. I'm just trying to get an average cost of a response.
Well, all the bills are in here.
Yep.
So I'd have to find that particular number too. I bet it is. I bet it's town.
Okay, all right.
I don't have time to do that. Yeah, as far as your door goes, it's got to go out to design. And it may not be feasible.
That's fine. I will only say that I, for at least 5 years, been after the Board of Selectmen to look into or at least raise the dorm, just not so much for us at that point, but because mutual aid trucks coming in can't fit in that station in the wintertime. And then about 3 years ago, I started saying that a new truck is going to be coming, and it will not fit.
We can't turn back time.
Nope.
All we can do is move forward.
It's done.
All right.
We could have bought a shorter truck.
We could have, but we wouldn't have been able to put all the rescue stuff on it. That's the kicker. By combining the two vehicles into one, we needed the added compartment space. The only way to get the added compartment space was to move the ladder from the side of the vehicle where they are on our others on a hydraulic system up on top. And that increases the overall height. That's the downside of saving money.
All right.
Thanks, Chief.
Budget-wise, wages are kind of right on track. Does anybody know our percentage? We should be around 48, 49. Are we at 50% at the end of the month?
We should be at 50% shortly, not right yet. No.
46 last year.
Yeah.
So,
Call it 48.
yeah.
So people are using mileage. They're carpooling to go to training and things like that.
When they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we only budgeted $50 for that, and you guys have spent 138. Arguably, that's probably a better deal for the town than running vehicles.
What? That's Alstead NH. Here's the way the first one is.
Training, you're a little over halfway through. Do you have much more training to do this year?
Well, part of the reason why that's so over is we're still incurring costs on the one physical that we had done. We got another bill. We haven't got the bill for it yet, but it looks like we're going to get another bill for another $300 and some odd, which will put us up over $1,400 for one physical.
Trying to figure out what our response is and how we voice our dissatisfaction with
Contacts the state fire standards and
Yeah.
training. The other thing we are trying to look into is, I'm trying to get a card from Jesse. Whoever Walpole uses does it on a contract basis, and based on what he said, they're charging Walpole $4,000 a year, and that covers their yearly physicals for all members, any shots that are needed, hepatitis, tetanus, etc., etc., etc.
really.
But I'm waiting to hear that, because that's like one of them things that sounds almost too good to be true for a physical that meets what the state is requesting.
Right. And that physical that we're talking about is an annual thing?
That's required every 3 years if you're going to take what the state is referring to as strenuous training.
Okay.
Level 1, level 2 firefighting, wildland forest firefighting, different types of technical rescue, swift water, ice rescue, cave rescue, rope rescue, anything that is considered a highly strenuous activity by the state is going to, by next year, require that sign off at least once every 3 years
Okay.
to take those classes.
By next year.
Yeah. So does that affect half of our guys or
All
all of our guys?
All of them, with the exception of 2 right now.
Right.
We have 2, one that goes to the VA and is able to get a sign off on them, and the one that we sent to Cheshire to occupational
Right.
health, because that's where the DOT physicals come from, and they're about $150.
What's the number, how many of them?
Grand total number?
You're talking 20 people?
Between 15 and 20.
So you're looking at $25,000 just for physical.
Based on that rate every 3 years. Almost.
Which is why we're looking in to see what this setup is that Walpole's using.
I think they
Yeah.
have a doctor on one of the cruises, what Jesse told me.
That's okay, I mean, but maybe there's some other way. I mean, if other towns are faced with this too, it seems like one of those things that we should get together with Walpole and Langdon, and everybody should pool in together and come up with,
Mutual.
mutual aid, another one.
Yeah,
You should.
mutual insurance.
Chris, if this is a physical once every 3 years, Kim, right?
It's required if you go to do the training. The town of Alstead does not require a physical. This is to go to state training.
Right, so my question is, I'm not sure how many people are involved in this, but can you do, if it's once every 3 years, can you cycle your people in thirds to keep your annual bill down from the number you guys just talked
We
about?
may not have time for that, you know what I mean, because this goes into effect next year, but it certainly could be staggered at least between a couple of years. It's a good point.
They all fit that hazardous category?
Pardon?
Do they all fit that hazardous category, or what do we,
No, not all of them,
well,
but most of them. At this point, now I'd have to say all but one.
oh, okay. They all do, okay. I didn't know, you know, in the level, if you've got some that,
We've got some that definitely would, were we to try and stagger it, they would be at the head of the line, because they are the ones that need the air pack classes, the level 1 classes, the right off the bat, new firefighter type stuff.
Gotcha.
What should we direct Kim not to do anything until we can get a chance to figure out?
just stagger.
I think, yeah, you have nobody in the pipeline you're trying to get in for a $1,400 physical right now, right?
Not at this point.
We're looking for solutions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And at this point in time, I don't have any plans of sending anyone else down to Cheshire for that physical.
Yeah. So it does seem like one of those things that you get a bunch of fire chiefs together and say, how are you guys handling this? This is, find out what Walpole's doing, find out what Charlestown, Langdon, everybody around here.
We've talked about it several times at the Cold River Fire Chiefs Association meetings, and so far, nobody's really come up with a solution. Either they're a full-time department like Newport that has to do it, or they are ones right now that are just kind of sliding through, trying to figure out how they're gonna come up with the money.
Okay. But you continue to research, and maybe we'll make some phone calls, and I really would like to send off a letter from us at some point to the fire standards and training. It's just one of those things that I get it. You've got, want to keep people safe, and that's essential. But sometimes government bureaucracies just sort of
Well,
justify.
that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
When they send out the form that the doctor has to sign off on, which I think you still got a copy of.
Yeah.
It also lists the physical requirements. And
They're vague.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they're strict enough so that for someone that cares enough about it or is cautious enough
They would question if I passed it, is that what you're saying?
No,
I'm just kidding.
no.
Maybe it's not high.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, they might, for instance, they might question him, but
I question you.
I got no question at all about me.
you know, you might go to one doctor, I might get, yep, you're good to go, and the next one say, "Oh, you're not even gonna go anywhere near there."
We gotta find that first guy.
Yeah.
Barb, you had something?
Tim, when you mentioned that Newport had a full-time, fire department,
Yeah,
and they had to go, what do you mean by they have to go? Versus-
because that's part of the requirements for a full-time permanent firefighter. You have, for lack of a better term, there's a bunch of hoops you have to jump through. You have to attend I forget how long it is, 8, 10, or 12-week fire academy in Concord. You're there 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. And then on top of that, there are also other physical tests that you have to go over. And then on top of that, some departments require annual physicals.
Okay. So basically, you're not saying that because we're not full-time that we don't have to do it?
What they're doing is, right now, their basic specs, for lack of a better term, of what the state is saying we should be able to do, is geared towards a full-time firefighter. I think one of them is carry 250 feet of hose up 4 flights of stairs. I'm not even sure we have a building in town that has 4 flights of stairs.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is if they're putting a lot of,
They are.
you know, a small town, that if somebody can't do it, they're not gonna do it anyway, probably. I don't know.
Boy, if we ever go to operate a hook and ladder, we're in trouble.
Yeah, that's the type of thing that's just insane, and again, you've got a bunch of, I'll call them bureaucrats, I'm sure they mean well, but they are trying to come up with a one-size-fits-all solution for every agency in an entire state, it's just not gonna work well. All right, we'll keep going through the budget here. Training, everything else looks pretty much dead on. What do you have in mind for new equipment? And
What I'd like to do is different than what I'm probably gonna do, because a lot of that money is gonna go to cover this stuff. I've got right now in the pipeline, I've got 3 sets of gear that are ordered. Those are gonna wind up totaling somewhere around $2,000, $2,200 a piece by the time we're done with boots and helmets, the hoods, the gloves, the rest of the accoutrements. We've got enough pagers in place for right now. It's unfortunate because of the whole situation. Right now, Bullet is offering a trade in your old thermal imaging camera for, I believe it's $4,000, and they will give you a brand new, up-to-date one. We paid, I believe, a little over $12,000 when we bought that one.
that stuff should have come down in price, I know on the
It has.
military side,
But I don't know that it's come down that much.
right. So how old's our FLIR? How old's the thermal?
It's 3 generations old. It's black and white, and it will do the skip. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You look and you keep scanning with the camera, and all of a sudden you look and the picture is froze right here, and you have to stop and wait anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds before it resets. And it's black and white.
Yeah.
But because of,
Yeah. Where we're at budget-wise, I mean, we're gonna, and it's not, we're just not looking at you, we're looking at every single department, hence all the conversation regarding DPW. We're trying to understand exactly where we're at, so we make sure we can cover this. And then we can prioritize what we have to spend.
you know, we should have a new laptop for the department. I don't see that happening this year.
Yeah.
We're when the new truck comes, that's not gonna have a thermal imager camera on it. That I was planning on taking out of the new equipment budget. Obviously, that's not gonna happen either.
Okay.
So hopefully that's something I can deal with next year.
Yep. Well, I mean, our goal is to find savings wherever we can to make sure we have the necessary equipment. And that's not just you guys, but it's police and it's everybody else. It's just gonna tighten up a little bit. And this isn't, maybe I come off a little bit like this is the end of the world, oh my God, we had a couple fires. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably not gonna be that big of a deal, but I just get real antsy moving forward on anything until I understand where we're at. It's writing checks when you don't know where your checkbook balance is.
How about you just ask him to notify us before he spends any more money out of that account? Yes.
Which account is that, the new equipment?
Yeah.
Anything over 500, you gotta sign a PO anyways. And the only other thing at this point in time that I don't even have any plans for anything other than the possibility of replacing broken equipment.
Well, give us a heads up. You come
Yeah.
across anything like that, just make sure.
What do you want? You want a minimum of 200 or you want anything?
Well, he said he ordered those 3 suits, but we didn't. What happens if he ordered the 3 suits and then?
Yeah, did we sign a PO for those already?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Well, I was told you did.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
I don't get copies of it, so I don't know.
It sounded familiar, but
Yes.
a couple times a year it seems like we're signing for thousands of dollars worth of firefighting gear.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're
Anybody?
interested in trying to find some money for you for us.
Well, I fully expect that a large amount of that is gonna come right out of the fire department budget.
Well, I think you're saving. I'm glad you feel that way.
I'm being realistic. I mean, it falls under my purview. And
Yeah.
It's not your fault that the budget for forest fires wasn't larger. That's not your fault.
not for trying.
Not for trying.
I'll give you that.
But you're,
And in the grand scheme of things, even what I was asking for wouldn't even remotely touch this.
Of course not. But we can't plan, we can't budget, we can't ask the taxpayers to come up with a budget that supports every.
And I wouldn't expect that because this is a exceptional year. The only problem being, if it continues,
Yeah.
right now we are this area is in a abnormally low water table. We're not quite to a drought yet, but we're one step away from it. Abnormally dry. And all you have to do is look at the brooks and the streams. And that's July, even August levels.
All right, and so there was, the one you're referring to was the one who confessed to the fire, correct?
Admitted to it. I wouldn't say confessed. They came right up and admitted
Admitted
to
to
it.
it, yeah.
And freely and said that they would pay the reimbursement.
Understand. No other leads on any of the other.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's in stuff.
I am out of that information loop, and I am not altogether upset about that, because if I'm not in that information loop and information gets out, I can't be blamed for doing it.
Yeah, that's just my personal curiosity.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard any more other than it was still under investigation.
I suspect we'll hear that for a while. All right, anything else for Ken?
no, but we've got to get going on that redesign.
So, we were gonna break down the,
Take down the big door. You're talking about the RFP.
yes,
Take down the big door. Do the little doors. Rock wanted me to call it Champion Door, which is a company that Swansea used. I'm drawing a blank. Windsor Williams Construction. See if they'll come out, do a quote, look at the big door, which I would like him there. one of you or all of you should be there, you know. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
We can't let that big door out without having an architect or engineer.
Yeah, but they have their own
They have their own
Yeah,
people.
that's,
avenues they can use.
yeah, or they can, somebody they work with, somebody they, yeah, I'm kind of the
But
opinion,
design, build,
They
contract.
do this all the time.
that's what I would like to see. So we don't have to break this up into multiple vendors or multiple steps.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Just what, I will
Well, Sears too, they sell
see
garage.
when they're available.
All right, anything else?
So we're working on it.
We're having a little bit of an issue with the new truck. We have come up short on the original price of $428, whatever it is. When everything was said and done with us planning on what we wanted for trays, pull-outs, slide-outs, swing-outs, etc., when that was all said and done, there was $95 left in that allowance. It leaves us with virtually no money to mount stuff on the truck. We talked last night with the reps, and I just barely got an email when I got down here. The salesman up to Lakes Region would suggest adding another $6,000 for mounting. And I would ask that you consider that, because the town did appropriate $450, and that would still keep us well below that.
So, you're saying, yeah, so we raised and appropriated $450,000.
The
The
first-
cost comes in at $428.
That was the
Truck.
first price.
Right.
And
So we,
because we're not skilled professionals, we missed some of the stuff when it came down to it.
okay. Then, so the
What was
taxpayers,
the second bid? Just out of curiosity.
oh, that's a good point. Yeah, was the second bid within $6,000 of the first bid? I don't think it was.
It wouldn't make any difference because it's already been
That's not
signed.
the point.
But it wasn't.
Okay,
No.
that's bad.
No. I want to say the next bid was between 18 and 20,000 more.
That's what I remember.
It was quite a ways off.
I'll move that we add that to the cost.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything prohibiting us from signing off on any amount up to the amount of the warrant, because it's already come out of your pockets.
Was this overlooked by us, or was it?
It was overlooked by us. When we finally sat down and said, this is how we want stuff mounted in the truck, to make, that's what we were going for, was maximum utilization of space. And it wound up costing more than what a normal truck would cost for that part of it. If that makes sense to you.
Right, so the warrant article, the order was, we would first use X amount out of capital reserves, correct? What was the second source? Was that raise the
Unused one.
No.
unused fund balance?
So in a sense, technically, it is money that hasn't been spent.
True, and we may be able to, was that, I don't know how you could do it out of the previous year's.
So I can't.
It'd have to be out of this year's.
Yeah, and
fund
that
balance.
difference would stay in the fund balance until next year anyway,
Right.
if we did spend it.
All right, so maybe we can work on this so it minimizes the, and I forget the amount.
We can also send Kim back and tell him that we'll split it with him at $3,000 and see what happens. You think he would do that?
I don't think you will.
Volunteer your labor?
Being as how, well, it's not so much, it's not really even the labor. It's just the cost of the different mounting units.
When we say units, it's just mounting brackets and stuff like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
But different types for different pieces of equipment and such.
I would think if the salesman sold me a car and then tried to tell me that he needed money to put the tires on, then I'd have a problem.
Yeah, but the trouble is, you ordered the car that you wanted based on your idea, and then when you get down to the tail end of it, you find out, oh, I forgot the tires.
Well, you didn't forget tires, you just wanted them mounted.
Alright, well,
It's a little squishy to me, but.
yeah, understandably, I can see where you're coming from. We get some details on that, we'll need to take a look at.
We were given an allowance through his bid of $13,500 for setting up the compartments and mounting them. And that was based on what we thought we had, what he thought we had, and when we sat down and started actually talking about it a couple weeks ago, that's when we come up short. Because of some of the differences that we had to do to allow us to make maximum utilization of the space in the compartments. Things had to be done sometimes a little different than what is considered normal. Some of our slide outs and swing outs, instead of going top to bottom, because we had heavy things that are going in on the bottom of the compartment, so they're lower to easier to get out of the compartment because they're lower rather than trying to pick them down. Because of that, we had to put a shelf in there that was braced up more than normal to allow us to still use the slide outs and the swing outs.
I hear you.
Alright,
I have a question.
go ahead.
My question is, let's say you don't have another penny to give, and the amount on the warrant is all you can use. What would you do if that is all the money that you would spend?
We'd have to live with it. And that means that it's like we do right now, where we have to go digging through stuff to get it out. Go in the rescue truck right
No,
now.
I'm just asking you.
No, that's what we would have. I mean, if the money's not there, then the money's not there.
Right, and if you would figure out, I guess I'm looking at it as somebody who sat for many, many months on the committee. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I would probably have a whole different opinion of things if I'd known it was going to end up like this. But these questions were asked a lot. First about the doors. It was pretty much, it can be done, it can be done. That's not your fault, I'm just saying this was a lot of the way people supported it. And it was going to fit in there. Then talking about what the needs, and I know that was asked of him and others, and I understand you probably don't know till you get to it. But that's what it was based on, and those questions were asked over and over and over. We spent a lot of time. Now here we are with this beautiful new truck that's going to come. We have to add 6,000. We can't even put it in the station that it's supposed to be in. I'm just telling you, as a citizen, it doesn't make me very happy.
As a selectman, it doesn't make me very happy either.
And it isn't because we don't have the money, we do have the money, we just want to keep the money. That's the problem.
But we'll need to understand exactly what those costs are. Maybe we end up talking with the dealer and at some point there's some level of responsibility that they have also in ensuring that they are providing a quote for a functional truck. And if I missed it, yeah, shame on me, but it's sort of your job. Those guys are the professionals that should be catching this stuff. So we'll get to that point. We're not going to get to that point tonight.
The problem is, this could be one of the first of a very long series of add-ons.
It shouldn't be, because
No, it shouldn't.
once everything is mounted, at that point, everything that we have, this is to mount equipment that we have now, not anything that we're anticipating. Everything that mounting is for what we have now.
Well,
And
do you want to see a breakdown?
Yeah, not tonight.
No, but sometime.
Yeah, I think definitely by the next meeting. We'll see you in a month.
Or whenever they need it. We don't know that they're going to need the $6,000.
Yeah.
well, that's part of the issue too, is we won't know until we take everything off of that truck and everything off of the rescue truck and take it up there and say, here it is.
What's it cost to make it?
And it's gonna be, well, we can do this or that. It's something that until we actually, or they actually figure out, we need this, this, and this to fit this, and this to make it work.
So they're not mounting their stuff, they're mounting your stuff.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. This is the equipment right now that is on engine one and on the rescue truck.
I'm with you, that's a little bit,
It is a little different, but it's still
yeah.
$6,000 we didn't count on, and me, I try to hook the old mounting equipment.
Well, we also asked
Right,
about
sure.
a electric reel, because there will be a generator on that. And we had missed the electric reel also. That's another $3,000, and I've already said, no, we're not gonna do that.
Well, how about, next month, when you come in and meet with us, you have more details on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's time frame.
I don't know if I can do that without them,
Right.
you know, we need this unit to mount this thing on here.
I get it, but if you have any update, that will be the time to bring it to us, and the more you guys can identify now. I don't know if some stuff standard is a spotlight, a standard size, if I say I've got it. I'm just throwing things out there, you know what I
No,
mean?
this is nothing like Spotlight. These are brackets to hold equipment.
I get it, I was referring to a spotlight as
Okay.
equipment, but
Yeah.
what do I know? Obviously not.
We need more information.
We need more information. As soon as you get some information, bring it to us.
In writing.
In writing would be good.
I think a good idea to talk to
I'm not,
supplier.
because it's like the original allowance. The original allowance was $13,500 for mounting.
Yeah.
And that is what they felt was a normal fee. The other thing that we didn't include was dry deck. That was something that we'd forgotten about. And that was over $2,000.
Well, then-
Dry deck is a plastic grid system that lifts everything up off the bottom of the compartments so that it's not sitting flat on the compartment. It gives some cushioning if there is something there, and it allows air to circulate so you don't get mold, mildew, rust.
All right, then how about this? How about for next meeting, how about we get a list of all those types of things that were not included in the original quote? And not that they're all this year things, but things that need to happen. We're gonna be talking about budget in another 2 months anyway, so this is the time to start getting those items together. Know what I mean?
It'll happen.
Again, the dry decking and all these other things. We know the $6,000. But, yeah, the reel.
No, I've already, no, we're not gonna do the reel.
No, but list them. List them down with amounts so we have some idea what we're gonna be looking at for next year, or for subsequent years, or whatever. We're gonna try to get a little bit better at our capital improvements and not just focus on truck size things, but things that are smaller than trucks.
Can you give me a dollar idea?
No, not really. Yeah.
See, that,
It's the stuff it's the, you know,
How about this, can the people from that company come down and look at your stuff
yeah,
and say, it's gonna be this?
oh, that
I-
is gonna be,
In my business, I'd have to go and give them a quote and say, this is what it's gonna be, and I gotta stick to that. We should make them come down and say, it's gonna be X number of dollars.
So you started the conversation off with asking for about $6,000.
that's what they recommended,
Why would-
raising it to cover the cost of
And why
mounting.
wouldn't they do that? I mean, you're gonna look at it from their perspective. It could easily be a $3,000 job, and they're just making sure they got plenty.
If they don't spend it, then they've already said that it will either
I would say that too.
say that it's, yeah, it will be there as a credit, or they will refund it.
And just on down. Okay.
All right. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
But like I said, that
make them come.
part of it's wish list, part of it's need list. But those things that are a couple $1,000s that don't ordinarily fall into one of these categories. We know that when you need gear, suits, that stuff's coming out of here. We know that when you need, Scott Pack or whatever else, it comes out of here.
It's not, that's not gonna come out of there.
Didn't we budget for those,
Well, I think we did.
Those are just air bottles.
Yeah, but he's talking about something. It's gonna happen. We just gotta go through the.
Yep. And the more information we have, the better we can do. So we're looking for.
Don't be nervous.
I'm not, the Scott tanks are not anything that we're really, unless we do another,
So we're gonna ask them to come down.
or do you want just a list? I mean, that's where the trouble comes in, is because
You know,
trying
we
to,
want-
each individual item that has to be mounted, and now you're asking them to come up with
They got it.
A design.
but the thing is what we have for equipment isn't what everybody else
They
has for
come down
equipment.
and they look at it, take some pictures, go back,
Yeah,
do a quote.
Yeah.
I think it's
It would be
reasonable.
much more comfortable with it.
And we're spending, what, $428,000 with them?
This isn't their first trip, right?
Right. And I'm not afraid to, I'm sorry if you're bothered because we're asking you, we're spending close to $500,000 with you.
Well, don't worry, you're gonna pay.
All right, anything else for
I
fire?
don't think there might be a profit in that little.
I think we're good. For now, we're good.
No.
I'm good, I'm happy.
I want to get on to the line by line, and let's work through that. And then Glenn will actually believe that we did it. All right. I guess everybody has a copy who wants a copy, or I don't know if there are any more copies of the budget laying around. If you know one, if anybody wants it, we'll start off with executives. And things look a little wonky right off the bat because we moved some things around. I'm looking at numbers that exceed 50%.
And you're finding many to look at.
We're finding a few, definitely.
They're usually small numbers.
Yeah, so a couple things like, town report, we do that once a year anyway.
Well, hopefully that's done though. But
Yeah, have we paid all the software bills we're gonna have this year?
Those are licenses, those are the licensing.
Yeah. Usually licensed software and support. Okay.
The only thing that we have to keep in mind is the computer that we're calling Linda's computer will need to be replaced next year. So she- Yeah,
Next year I'm fine with.
yep, and that's our main computer, so.
Which is running Windows 7, I think. All right. And I know because we staffed up a little bit, executive supplies and equipment ended up being a little high. We bought new chairs, correct?
Yep, none of that's.
Yep. Overall, that executive number is at 35%, but do we move some of that into another area where it's maybe better? It is what it is.
How come what's executive insurance?
The executive insurance is a portion of Linda's, and it also includes.
Is it liability?
Yep, it's a health. It's
Health insurance.
Oh, that's health insurance?
But it also included 2 full-time, people in there as well.
Because it's awfully long.
Well,
And we haven't, that number's gonna be what it's gonna be. And we didn't get, Charlotte brought on until
Oh, that's
May.
true too.
All right, overall 35%. Any other comments on executive?
Well, that's probably the reason why it's low.
Yeah, and we delayed spending on clerical wages too, because we didn't hire anybody immediately. All right, town clerk, let's take a look at how town clerk is, even though we can't do anything about it, it's still on our budget. Wages are a fraction high. And does tax bill postage come out of hers?
tax bill postage would come out of, tax collector.
Oh, I'm sorry, I think of it as one.
Yep.
Never mind. She has 2 budgets in here.
Yep, and that's why you will see some of the deputy wages a little higher in the town clerk for elections. You will not see in tax collector deputy.
All right, election.
What's town clerk advertising?
Advertising, that would be for, elections.
Do they do notices too?
The election department does the notices for
Yeah.
out of their budget.
It's a good question that I don't
So-
know that we actually have an answer to right now.
I know it doesn't take long, it's been $190.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, last year we got clobbered because they ended up needing a new computer. I'm hoping and assuming that they don't need another computer this year. All right. Anything else on town clerk? It's at 50%. Elections. 1, 2, supplies is high, but Bobby, can you speak to this at all? Are you the right person to speak to it, or?
No,
Just, is there anticipation for much more training or mileage that would occur this year, or?
okay, the election department is now split up to 2 people putting in the budget and not doing it as a group thing anymore. So that makes it a really big difference. I know my portion, we don't have mileage, we don't have training because I do all the training.
Gotcha.
So you'd have to talk to the moderator.
Okay. Okay. All right. Overall, it's at 40%, so that's low. Tax collector. The deputy tax collector wages are low, yet I heard that she had been given more hours.
She's under town clerk too.
Yes, so, like I said, she has more hours in town clerk because of all the, your deliberative session, your elections.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about the deputy's wages.
Yep.
Actually, I don't see the deputy on town clerk.
There is this first page.
First page. Yep.
Oh, it's kind of right on the money there.
She works
Okay.
3 full days. Yep.
All right. Tax collector wages are what they are.
Who is the deputy town clerk?
Trish. And software and support.
That should be all paid for. That's our BMSI and Avatar.
Okay. Yeah, and barring a broken computer or anything like that, I hope they did throw in $1,500 this year. So that's really what's saving them now. They haven't spent any money on new equipment. All right, any comments on tax collector? All right, treasurer. Never seen him.
No, major budget. We do move money around from different line items to line items. So we move money out of clerk and tax. Based on,
That one we can't. Not from elected.
well, what happens to the money that was appropriated that she doesn't spend as it goes to the general fund?
Unspent fund balance. Does the treasurer pay all of his software and support up front? To you? Okay. Hope he didn't have to mail anything. Overall, he's a little high, but I don't know if it's enough money to worry about, really. It's not in wages, it was in, yeah. And again, if that money has been spent, it should coast and stay around 58% I don't think I'm too worried about that. Auditors and assessors, I assume we haven't got their bill, right, for the auditors?
How long have they been here?
How long has it been?
Months, haven't they? When did they start?
Couple months?
It was
They
right
started
after
the-
the election.
Yep,
Yeah,
so they're back today, so they're looking, they will tie everything up, so they're here for,
but they don't have any, they don't bill until like